afternoon, everyone. It's so good to see you all. Welcome back to the XD Daily Creative Challenge. I'm your host, Andrea Eppy. So welcome everyone in the chat. Thanks for coming back again for another day of Daily Creative Challenges. It's Tuesday, so it's our second week of this series of Daily Creative Challenges. So we're on day 6. And hope everyone's having a great day. Let's see who we got in the chat. We got Tia, Abane, Yuhi, Joe, Celine, Porofio. We got Sam, Julia, lots of you guys today. Welcome and thanks for joining. All right, guys. Well, let's go ahead and dive right in. I'm going to go ahead and hop on over to Behance and we can see what today's challenge is. All right, so if you want to follow along with me, I'm on behance.net/challenge/XD. And let's go ahead and get started. So as always, you guys know the drill by now. Go ahead and sign up with this big blue button right there. And each day at 8 a.m., you'll get notified that there is a new challenge in your Creative Cloud app. So let's go ahead and scroll on down. We can see what today's challenge is. So you guys know that sort of my theme throughout these 2 weeks has been redesigning these apps that we've been working on from working from home. So maybe you guys are working remotely as well. I have been for a couple years, actually. I'm a freelance designer, so nothing really changed too much for me. But yeah, let's see if we can redesign some of these apps that maybe you guys are frustrated with right now. So like last week, we were working on a messaging app, so sort of redesigning a Slack. We did a redesigning of Google Hangouts or Zoom, sort of, and a live streaming app. We did a lighting app, like this one I have up here for my lights. And yesterday we did stacks for a project management tool. But today we're going to be working on a map interface in a sort of co-working app. So design a map interface that displays remote working locations. So maybe there's not necessarily an app out there like this, but we're going to make it today. So as you work, create a scrollable map using scroll groups that displays nearby cafes and co-working spots. Cool. So welcome everyone that is just joining in the chat. Joe, hey there, Joe. Malind, I saw your work this morning, Malind. Great job. Jenna, Tia, Stephanie. Hey guys. Okay, so as always, let me know if you have any questions in the chat while I'm designing. And of course, you can always rewatch any of these if you missed a day, just by hitting that watch video. So let's scroll on down here. As always, you can click this button to join us in Discord. So this is Discord. If you have not joined, there's about 50,000 of you guys already. So thank you all so much for joining. And of course, be sure to, if you want to get feedback on your work, you can post it in this channel. And I've been looking through some of you guys' work lately. This one I thought was neat. This was from like last week, I think, but we'll look through some of these towards the end of the stream. Just kind of look through you guys' yesterday, but thought these were cute. Those little emojis, adorable. And you got some sound effects on that one, awesome. All right, so I am going to go ahead and close out of Discord and let's jump into XD. Let's get started. So this is the starter file that you guys can download as well. As always, I don't provide all of my fonts and everything because I want you guys to have your own creative license to come up with whatever you want. But basically, we're going to be doing, like I mentioned, a remote co-working app that displays different locations for where you can work. So there wasn't too much of inspiration out there, but you can kind of imagine what it might look like. You can do mobile if you want. I'm going to be doing desktop, but definitely just show a map, show some different pinpoints like this of different spaces people can go to. This one by Keyshore did not have a map, but I do like that he used like some of the features that a co-working app might have, or co-working location rather. So maybe you want to show how much it is to work there, if there's Wi-Fi. I mean, hopefully there's Wi-Fi at a co-working spot, coffee, you know, just different details like that if you want to add it. Cool. Alvin is tuning in from Chicago. We got Jay. Welcome, guys. The resource booklet, of course, if you want to look through some of those places I find resources. And be sure to share your work on Behance and Discord when you're done. So Behance, don't forget that keyword XD daily challenge so I can find your work and give you feedback. Some tips for myself. I always give you guys tips each day, specifically related to the challenge. So one fun thing you might want to try is adding animations in your map whenever the user is panning around. So maybe like when a new coworking, like one of the pins comes into the view, it kind of pops up. Maybe you add a bounce to that animation. So let's get started. I have just one artboard. Since we're doing scroll groups, I don't really need to add a bunch of art birds today, but I'm gonna keep it pretty minimal today. I don't wanna overpower the map. I want it to just be kind of black and white, sort of, since usually I use a lot of color. So let's add a title, or like the name of the app or website. I'll just say coworking spaces. If anyone has a better name, let me know. And then since I'm keeping with this very minimal sort of black and white theme, I might add 1 or 2 colors, but just keeping it super basic. Let's add a divider line for just our top menu bar. And then we can add some other menu items up here. So things you might want to look at, maybe your reservations. Maybe you like reserved a specific seat. And the font I'm using today, this is Gilroy. I like this one, I don't use it too much. Maybe we want to look at spaces, maybe about, and like contact. Just not too many, just 4 or so. And I'll say that we are on spaces. And just to double kind of show that this is selected, I'm gonna just add a little circle above it. Just for a little nice icon effect, sort of. That doesn't make any sense, icon effect. All right, so that looks good for the top bar. I am going to add a left column over here to maybe sort of filter through some of these items. So let's just turn this 90 degrees, and then we'll put this like just about 1/3 of the page. And I'll bring this up. All right, that looks good. Now, on this left area, let me move these over just a tad. All right, so in this left area, this is where I want to just focus on the map. So I already have a component of a map. Where's the map? Here it is. All right, so this is a pretty big screenshot just of like a random area in New York. And I think I've shared this with you guys before, the places where I get my maps. So this is called Snazzy Maps, one of my favorite sites for getting maps. And what you can do here is just take a screenshot of any of these. And the cool thing is you can change the colors. So, oh, not working. But basically you can go in, if you have a specific hex code that you're already using in your design, you can plug that in for like the water or like the roads, and you can get rid of if you don't want it to have any like signs anywhere, you don't want it to say the street signs, you can get rid of that too. So I love that site. I use it quite a lot, I feel like. All right, so we've got a little screenshot here. Now, so what you would normally do if you wanted this to be a specific size is you would just make another rectangle, group those two or select those two, and then mask them by doing Shift-Command-M. So great, we've got a little mask, but doesn't work out so well if we want to be able to pan around. So what we need to do is just get rid of the mask. So we're not going to use any extra like boxes for masks. A little bit of a tongue twister. But what we're going to do, and this is kind of new, this is I believe a feature from last month in June. We're gonna come over here in our like width and height area, and we're gonna go in this area. So this is all for scrolling. So we can either scroll horizontally, or we can add the vertical scroll, Or we can add a vertical and horizontal scroll, which is basically just panning. So we want to do that. We want to be able to pan all the way around this little map. So we can just bring these edges to wherever we want. I'll bring these in a bit. And this is the same sort of thing that you probably have used before, just for a whole artboard. If you want to, just be able to scroll up and down, and you just would drag the bottom of the artboard down. And here, it was the same thing. We have that little blue dotted line, and this indicates where the fold would be. So if all of your content would be above the fold, the user would not have to scroll below that to see it, like when they first open the page. So this is sort of our bounding box, but I do want this to be, you guys know I love rounded corners, so I want this to have rounded corners. The only problem with scroll groups right now, at least, is that we can't do a radius on those corners, but I found a workaround. So all you have to do is add another box on top. Let's just change this color so we can see it a little better, and add another box behind that, and then the inner box we can just add whatever corner radius that we are going to add, and we can mask those two. Bring this forward. Sorry, not mask, I mean Pathfinder. So now if we get rid of that border, we've got our rounded corners. So it's a little bit janky. You kind of have to do a workaround, but it does work. So if you were looking for how to do that. So let's add some more elements to our map, like so. Can add like a zooming in icon. That looks good. And then of course we need some like pinpoints, little location indicators on our map. So I'm just gonna drag these components in. And what I want to do, so let me just show you just if I add these like without putting them inside the group, and then we can preview it to see what it looks like. So we'll just add these all over. All right, so let's preview this. All right, so we're on preview, and if I would try to pan around, you'll see the background pans around, but our foreground is not panning with the map. So that doesn't help us at all, because we want to be able to see exactly where all these points are matching up with the map. So what we need to do is select all of these guys. Let's go back into our design tab, select them, and cut. And then just make sure you double tap so you're inside that group and we can see, the outline of the whole map, and paste them in here. And then, if you ever want to add any more, or just drag them off the map as well, like let's drag a few of these off so we can see what it looks like. Do another red one over here. So now if we preview this, now when we pan, and for panning I'm just using my touchpad on my laptop to zoom around, but now those pinpoints are staying exactly where we want them to be. And I mean, same with these guys, we want these to stay outside of that group, so I'm not gonna double click and put them inside the group. All right, so that looks good, but what if I wanted to add, I click on one of these spots, like let's say I click on this guy, and I want to be able to show whatever coworking spot is right there. So we can do that too. So let's add a box, and I'm actually going to move this guy just so he's not in the way while we're working. So let's just add a box. I will add a little bit of a drop shadow so we can see it a little better, and the name of whatever this place is, I'll just say The Wing, which is an all-women's co-working place. I wish we had one in St. Louis. I would definitely go there. And let's try, that looks good. Just trying out my different fonts. Okay, that's fine. And let's say a pretend address, 1234 South Main Street, New York, 12345 for the zip code. Okay. And then I'll bring down the spacing a bit so we can fit some more stuff in there. What else would we need? Maybe the user would want to see some photos just in this little sort of pop-up. Maybe they don't want to zoom in on everything on that, but we will add some photos there. So I just got these from Adobe stock that I'm dragging from my components. Let's bring this down a bit so we have some room. And for these, I'm just gonna mask those photos using the same masking technique that I've been using. Let's copy and paste. Actually, let's use repeat grid. Drag that over. And then I'll just bring these up and behind those guys. And I'm using Shift Command M to mask that. Bring this one up as well. If I'm going too fast or anything, just let me know in the chat. Sometimes I just get too in the details and I'm like focused. Okay, and this last one we can add as well with a mask. Okay, so those look pretty good. Let's just move those in a bit so we can kind of have it falling off the edge so it looks like it's scrollable. And let's group those three. Now, so we already did our panning with scroll groups, vertical and horizontal, but for these, maybe we want to do another panning or another horizontal scroll. So we just come over here. This one's even easier. And we see again our little blue dotted line around this group. And we can drag this to the edges. This side I'm going to drag all the way over. So that looks good. Maybe the other thing we'll need here is like a CTA button. So we'll bring this reserve button right here. And let's go ahead and group all of these together. Need to move this over a bit. That looks good. Cool. So now if I would preview this, this would still not follow that little guy around. So what we want to do is, again, just select that and double click in. So it's a part of that map behind. And then we'll just place it right there next to that little dot. So now if we preview, it moves with the dot. Pretty cool. Another thing you might be wondering, well, I don't want it to be open the whole time while I'm panning around. Well, what you could do is you could also go in. This is cool because you can do this within scroll groups. You can make these two a component. So we've got the default state and we could add a hover state as well. So the hover state would be just when we move our mouse over this and maybe that would pop up. So let's say for the default state, we do not want this, but for the hover state, let's click in there, double click in, and maybe our little pin gets a little bit bigger when we hover. And there we go. So let's bring it back to the default state and we can preview that. So we're panning around, looking for a spot. This one's close. So you see you can even do components within scroll groups. So it's really cool. So this is our hover, and you'll notice it still stays in the same space wherever we go throughout that map. And maybe over here, we want to add just like a filter. This will just be like our list of a bunch of different co-working spots. Maybe we'll say WeWork is one of them. And maybe just some additional info like 2 spaces available below, and maybe the price. So only like the main things that we would want to see just in this scrolling area. Maybe $5 an hour. Okay, so there, move these over a bit. We can also do, so right now we have our panning, so we've got vertical and horizontal scroll. Oop, move this down a bit. we've got our, when we hover, we've got our horizontal scroll, and we can also do a vertical scroll over here. So let's just make this a really quick repeat grid. Bring this down. And I mean, I'm not gonna go in and like change all the names of these, but you can imagine, you know, these would all be different places. So same thing with this. We can make this a scroll group as well. So just come over here, right where we've been hanging out, and press this middle one. So this is the vertical scroll groups. And it guessed right. I want it to just end right here at the bottom of the page. So if we come up here and preview again, can scroll through all of those vertically. So this is nice because we don't have to have a ton of different artboards to do all of these different animations for our prototype. We can just do everything within the same artboard. So super, super fun. A good thing to know, these scroll groups. And maybe we need a search bar up at the top here, just so we fill up that space a bit. All right, guys. Well, that is scroll groups. Let's go ahead and Command S to save. And of course, as always, if you want to preview and record yourself like panning around or whatever, just press record preview up here. And then it will record. You'll see it's recording because it has this little circle magnifying glass kind of. And it will record you kind of panning around and hovering and all that jazz. And then just press stop recording to end it, and you can save it wherever you want as an MOV file. All right, so let's hop into Behance. Not many questions from you guys today. You guys are getting it. All right, let's hop into Behance. As always, if you guys want to share your work as a Behance project, make sure that you come over here into Edit, and then into Settings, and make sure you have that keyword XD Daily Challenge so I can find your work and give you feedback if you'd like. This was just one of my past projects. But now I'm gonna look at some of you guys' work. So thank you all so much for continuing to share your work. Let's just refresh this. I usually like to start from the very beginning. And I'm just searching that keyword XD Daily Challenge by most recent. So let's take a look at this one. Joshua Davis, you've been busy. I've seen you done a lot of the challenges. All right, let's take a look at this prototype. Oh, I think we looked at this one yesterday, maybe. It looks familiar, or maybe I did on Discord. But yeah, we have the bedroom light. We've got some kitchen, living room. Awesome. Toggle on and off. Nice job on those sliders. Looks good. I'm kind of breezing through this one because I think I already looked at it yesterday. But thank you so much for sharing, Joshua. So this one I've got is by Anders Graham. Let's take a look. Love that mock-up. Very nice. And let's take a look at the video. It's got some sound. If you guys can hear that through my microphone. Very fancy. Wow. This is great. I hope you put this on a YouTube channel or something so everyone can see this. This is so great. Okay, so yesterday was the sort of Kanban or Kanban. Don't know if that's properly how to say it, but sort of a task project management tool. Awesome. Oh, that was really quick. Let me look at that again. This is so fancy. Look at this intro, you guys. Okay. So we've got our vertical scroll there. Nice. For our timeline. Went above and beyond. And then our checkboxes. Awesome. Ooh. That's a nice little animation. Very subtle with the line there. Subtle but nice. Awesome. Looks so good. Good job, guys. And so stacks was the like feature yesterday, but that's kind of hard to show in a actual like video. This next one is by Anna. Let's take a look. This is very clean. All right. Ooh, nice. Got our to-do list. Ooh, and it hops on over. Awesome. To-do, progress, and done. Very nice. Very clean. Love these calming colors too. This looks so good. Thank you, Anna, for sharing that one. I love it. And this one, this was by Shubham. And I think he combined a bunch of his projects. So 1, 2, got 3. Wow, this is awesome. Doing all of them. All right, let's take a look at this one. I think this was the one from the lighting. Screen widget. And we've got our, redness and yellowish. Nice. That looks great. Good idea. Awesome. I love it. Okay. So thank you, Shubham, for submitting your work. I have one more, but that is about all the time that I have left for today. I'll continue looking at you guys' work on Discord, so be sure you're sharing there. Thank you all so much for joining today in the chat and continuing to watch. And don't go anywhere, because in about 5 minutes, we've got our doodle therapy with Alice Lee. And I'll see you guys tomorrow at 2 p.m. Pacific. Bye!
After this struggle, yeah, give me some more, can and take a lot.